Hey guys, I'm Comire and 2020. Am I right? Video games were able to thrive as a distracting God-sent entertainment source in a year where people found themselves stuck indoors more than a fat cat wedged in the cat flap. But video game development was universally stunted in the year of facilitating home working, delayed production pipelines, and telling Cheryl her mic is on mute while her husband walks around naked in the background. This all means any announced game has little to no guarantee of actually coming out this year. So, even though I prioritise titles I think have the best shot, why do you think Bayonetta 3 hasn't made a return since 2018? I retain the right to bring back any game mentioned now for a future list, okay? So, with that being said, this is Start Select, and here are my most anticipated games of 2021. I know, the guy that backed Marvel's Avengers last year is all for a superhero tag team game. Who knew I had a type? Gotham Knights is an open-world action RPG where Batman is no more, Commissioner Gordon is dead, the Batcave destroyed, and you'll roam Gotham City's alleyways and rooftops at night with Robin, Batgirl, Nightwing, or Red Hood, the Fantastic Four, or not getting enough hugs from Daddy. It's developed by Montreal Games, who previously made Batman Arkham Origins, a game largely considered the Jeremy Renner of the series. But, despite similar characters, similar gameplay, similar use of the word knight, Gotham Knights is its own thing, unconnected from any Batman game before it. The Arkham series expands with Rocksteady's Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, a 4-man team-up game where you kill the Justice League. Meaning, across both games you can play as the good guys and the bad guys. You can kill Batman and track down his killer. You can be the Joker's whipping boy and be Harley Quinn. Get it? Comic book jokes. The major antagonists include Mr. Freeze and the Court of Owls, with all enemies scaling up in strength alongside the shared progression of your characters. Our heroes have unique traits, like Robin's short-range teleporting, Red Hood's gunplay, and Nightwing occasionally busting into breakdance. The game can be played solo or 2-player drop-in, drop-out co-op, leading to some cool two-handed finishes, which looks great for a group who wouldn't be let into a nightclub for not having enough girls. As well as the masked faces, deadly weapons, and Red Hood literally looking like a cosplay terrorist. Kenna, Bridge of Spirits, a story-driven action-adventure game with a healthy balance of platforming, combat, puzzle solving, and Disney Pixar squee. Like, seriously, this game looks like if Disney Soul bumped uglies with Big Hero 6, but forgot to wash off Legend of Korra's dildo first. The Southeast Asian influence of Bali is apparent in the environment, the architecture, the soundtrack, led by brothers Josh and Mike Greer, who are literally the tall, dark and handsome stranger your girlfriend fantasizes about every night. In Kenna Bridge of Spirits, those who have died with unresolved issues can linger in the mortal realm, causing trouble for the living and corruption in the land. As Kenna, you'll guide spirits to their peaceful final destination. By smacking Casper down to Hades with a staff, sometimes bow, sometimes all-powerful deflection shield, like the Inspector Gadget of demonic spiritual weaponry. After finding an abandoned village, Kenna cleans and revitalizes several connected corrupted areas, making them more explorable and gathering a team of up to 100 tiny beings called Rot along the way. Rot can manipulate the environment and aid in battle, before rushing back to Kenna faster than an embarrassing memory before you go to sleep. I can't wait for the avalanche of merchandise. Step right up and get your furry naked blackface minion plush toy. They even come with different hats. The only known game inspired by a Marvin Gaye Kim Weston song, It Takes Two is an action-adventure platformer that will blow your f***ing mind away. Not my words.
It Takes Two is a co-op action-adventure platformer that will blow your f***ing mind away.
That garlic and herb tanned walking pectoral muscle is Joseph Fares, the writer-director of the game and leader at Hazelight Studios. When not battling onset Tourette syndrome triggered by media appearances, Joseph creates critically acclaimed games with partnerships at their core, like in his first two games, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons and A Way Out. It Takes Two follows suit, playing a separating couple, Cody and May, whose minds have been transported into the dolls of Rose, their daughter who's heartbroken by the breakup. The parents are guided back to a healthy place by Dr. Hakim, a sentient book of love that somehow feels even more disturbing than if they just went with their first idea of a butt-naked Dr. Phil penetrating a copy of the Kama Sutra. It's a tale of separation, reconciliation, and all the emotions in between, told with sensitivity and dignity and bobsleighing. There's an array of gameplay styles created to represent various feelings, and oppose video games' tendency to have a single mechanic repeated multiple times over the course of a game. Also, Joseph Fares' brother is an actor named Fares Fares. I had no real reason to mention that last thing, other than knowing if I worked into the video,
that will blow your f***ing mind away.
This dimension warping platformer come third-person shooter from Insomniac Games, the people behind Marvel Spider-Man and Miles Morales, is another installment in the series asking what if Simba got lost in the wilderness with C-3PO and a gun. This time, it's all about the Rift Tether, a device that moves Ratchet across the environment by thrusting himself through a passage like any man near an open hole would. And you get to play with a load of crazy weapons too, like the Shadow Bomb, the Burst Pistol, the Enforcer Shotgun, and other things that sound like they come packed in with a Buzz Lightyear. Ratchet and Clank clash with the evilly named walking vibrator Dr. Nefarious, which damages the Dimensionator, rupturing the fabric of space-time. They meet a woman straight out of the How to Train Your Dragon design school, and travel through several worlds, timelines and dimensions like an Uber driver trying to find your pickup point. With God of War and Crash 4 doing well, apparently we're living in the renaissance of PlayStation stars that run around without a top on. It's got so much positive momentum, I didn't even care that the Rift Tether is basically just short hopping from Dishonored. And now that I've mentioned the word honour, do the thing! Horizon Forbidden West. Stone Age Kim Possible is back at it again, grappling with the wildlife from planet Cybertron and uncovering the truths of her world like a #MeToo blogger. The 2017 original game, Horizon Zero Dawn, was unfortunately overshadowed when The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, one of the greatest games of all time, came out less than a month later. So a large part of me wants Horizon Forbidden West to finally get its time to shine. And a just as large part wants it to happen all over again. Destruction All-Stars, a car combat game with such silly looking characters, this Fortnite Mario Kart love child makes those games look like Mad Max by comparison. The insanely varied, colourful cast gives the game a free-to-play kind of energy, and is a shockingly accurate visual representation of what my mum thinks YouTubers are. Stray takes place in a neon-lit cyber city where you play a cat and lose ownership of your PlayStation because your grunge girlfriend just found her new favourite game. Publisher Annapurna Interactive have a good track record in artistic storytelling, which include a number of walking simulators. And a dystopian robot-filled walking simulator is probably exactly the thing that Cyberpunk 2077 wishes it set out to do right now. New Pokemon Snap is the 20-year later sequel to the Nintendo 64 game that lets players discard groceries to photograph Pokemon. I remember the makers saying another Pokemon Snap wouldn't happen unless they had a new take, so I look forward to seeing what that is. Personally, I think they've had the idea ages ago. They just didn't want to waste it on the Wii U gamepad. Hood, Outlaws and Legends, a multiplayer action heist game with the stylings of For Honor, the team coordination of Rainbow Six Siege, and the stabbing someone's esophagus of Assassin's Creed. Aside from not being littered with towers and icons, this is one of the most Ubisoft games to not come from Ubisoft. Like, if Robin Hood, The Mask of Zorro, Catwoman, and Jason Statham had a lot less impulse control and a lot more crack cocaine. Yeah, I'm a fan. One of the most stylish games to ever grace the Nintendo DS has a team-based action RPG sequel that not only has been translated beautifully from 2D to 3D, but thankfully can no longer scratch up the bottom screen of my DS almost as bad as Pokemon Ranger. The World Ends of You game's best feature is the artistically brazen interpretation of Japan's Shibuya bustle, distinct fashion, and off-the-wall music. The only other game I can think of from someone else with this approach to style is Splatoon. Although, that would be like comparing the tribulations of the American schooling system in High School Musical to 13 Reasons Why. Running around the 3D space has echoes of Final Fantasy 15, while fighting a giant graffiti gorilla has echoes of a threat a suburban mum would make to keep her kids away from vandalism. The story revolves around the Reaper's game, a game that forces players to fight each other, get jumped on by monsters, frequently interfered with by those in power for their own amusement, just for another chance at life. Basically, it's a metaphor for living on a council estate. I mean, I said at the start, I prioritise games I think have the best chance of coming out this year, which is why, even though I like the look of that Ruby game or No More Heroes 3, they didn't make the cut. But Square Enix only just announced Neo: The World Ends With You in November 2020, and they definitely don't have a history of announcing games years before they see the light of day. Well, let's unmask the Comire corner to see a Zelda fan film called Terrible Fate, made by Ember Lab, which are the guys and girls behind Kenna Bridge of Spirits. It's the right level of cheery, and the right level of creepy, with only a slight hint of tentacles. Find it through the references link in the description, and now it's your turn to tell me what are your most anticipated games this year. Let me know down below, or chuck me a tweet. And until next time, I've been Comire, this has been Stan Select. Thank you, and good night. Both digital and physical games download and install the game's data. The disc itself is just a formality come rite of passage, like blowing on the cartridge to make it work, or waiting an hour for the day one patch, or realising your computer doesn't actually have a CD drive because no one's bought a physical PC game since 2009.